amount of partners I can train with. As I said, I live with the guy, and there's obviously a couple of pro athletes I've been lucky enough to be able to train with, and so it's just like finding the place and finding the time to train with them. It's a smaller group, and then doing a bit of individual fitness as well. I normally like to swim, but pools are shut, so I just had to get creative.
My training's been going alright. I didn't actually get affected by lockdown that much. I still carried on training, probably even more than before. Training in different gyms, different training partners, got a little bit more experience and people who were kind of taking the lockdown more seriously at the same time. So yeah, I can't complain.
My training's been going good, even with the lockdown and restrictions. I've been doing a lot of work on my own. I've been doing a lot of mental work. I've been training in a bubble. Nothing's changed. The goals remain the same. The training's been just as intense, and I've grown every day.
Yeah, it's been good. Training, drilling, chilling, the usual stuff. I mean, just gotta make do what I can do.
Absolute.
Yeah.
It's only really been these sorts of paid invitational type things which have been happening. Nothing else has really been happening. There was Grappling Industries a couple of weeks back, but that was the first like proper jiu-jitsu like tournament that had happened at the time, so not really.
Not as much as I'd like to, definitely not, but I did compete quite a fair bit considering all the restrictions. I still managed to get on a few grappling shows, so I can't really complain too much, but I wish I could have.
Back up straight, last lap. I haven't had much of a chance to compete in the last year, but I've been very thankful to Alpha Grappling Championship for giving me the opportunity on their first show to fight for what was the first time in over a year, and now giving me the second opportunity to turn up and put on a show again.
Yeah, I competed much this year. I competed at Brian Open and Alpha Grappling, won. I had a super fight in Greece recently. I'm going to fight in Scotland as well.
Jay Harris looks a bit tired. Despite looking tired. At least 12 submissions under his belt. Really?
Grappling quite a lot if possible. If I could do one like once a month, that would be ideal. Recently, obviously, it's been not much, but it usually ends up being like I'll have a month or two off and then a couple of months where I compete more regularly. Yeah, so a lot if I can.
Ideally as often as I can. Before lockdowns, obviously, I was competing like almost every weekend. Now it's definitely a little bit less often than that, but I compete whenever I get an opportunity. I always say yes, so I compete as often as I can, always.
I like to compete as often as possible. I like to stay fresh. Competing is a skill set and it's a muscle that needs to be built. And so for me, especially with where I'm at, it's about building and building and building that muscle and getting as much experience as possible.
I like to compete as much as I can, probably once a month, and more if it's available.
Middleweight champion sounds good. Sounds real good. I think that's a real goal. Yeah, I didn't realise that they had championships or like rankings in this, but if they do, that's cool.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good idea. I know they're going to introduce a little ranking for women as well. And I'm all in for the equality and equal opportunities in grappling, because you don't really see that much with grappling shows still. There's usually mostly male-dominated cards, so it's good to see that women are still taken into account, and there's going to be probably a fair few shows in the future, so there's going to be a lot of exciting action.
My plan is to not only keep winning on Alpha, but to keep putting on a show, to be the best jiu-jitsu and the most aggressive jiu-jitsu on the card. Keep beating everybody they put in my way, get the title shot, win it.
I mean, I feel like Gollum from Lord of the Rings, my precious.
So yeah, I really like the small setup with the cage and the walls. I like using walls a lot, so it suited me. I don't like resets and stand-ups. I prefer like if we get up against the wall and just fight on the wall. Yeah, anytime I'm getting paid to compete, I'm happy.
I mean, as far as I know, both of us are pretty scrappy, so it could be literally anything. But ideally, I'd like to close the match with a submission. I know Martina is very good with leg locks, but she's also quite a strong person in like wrestling exchanges and pretty well-rounded grappler. So I can't really predict how that's going to go, but I'd like to close it with a submission. It's definitely going to be a good scrappy to win.
I loved competing at Alpha Grappling Championships in July on their first show. It was brilliant. They treated the athletes really well. It was an excellent environment and just brilliant to be able to put my skill show on set.
I did what I intended to do. This is what I do day in, day out. And if you pull on me, you've seen what happens.
You're up against a black belt in Chris Walsh in your next fight. Do you know much about him?
Not really. No, I've heard the name before, but I've never watched him compete. I don't really know what he does or what he likes, so I'll just probably end up going in blind, which is fine.
Keep him on the inside, keep him close. Make him come to you. That's it, inside feet now, that's it. Oh, beautiful, on it, got it. Pass you. Come back in again, Chris, put it inside, same again.
Do you know much about her? You've trained together before?
Yeah, I know Martina. We trained together. She comes from a very good gym from 10th Plan in London. I did visit them just before lockdown, and I definitely enjoy sparring with her. She's a very technical, strong person, and I really enjoyed our role. It was quite interesting, so I'm definitely looking forward to the match. I know she's going to bring the best version of herself, so it should be interesting.
We're up against a very game opponent in Chris George Rodriguez in your next fight. Do you know much about him?
I don't know loads about my opponent. I've seen a few of his fights. He seems a very game opponent. He seems like he's going to come ready to give me a very lively fight, which I think plays into my skill set. My job is to come more prepared than him and to be better than him.
It'll be interesting if they switch it up, trying to figure out a different way to get each other.
Yeah, that's smart from Jack there. I think he's feeding those low thigh kicks from Jorge.
Up against an experienced competitor in Wally Abdullah. Do you know much about him?
Don't know anything about him really. I look at wrestling, but can't wrestle me if it's on the floor. It's ground fighting, so he's not gonna wrestle me on the ground. So
I've fought against top guys before. I have no idea how good he is or what he does, so again, I'm not really sure.
And the winner by a heel hook, representing Team England, Chris Walsh.
Yeah, definitely. Every opponent is a step up in competition because it kind of forces you to develop your game in a little bit different way. You kind of want to take into account their game as well as the bits of your game you want to kind of develop a little bit further. So it's always an opportunity to step up again.
And that opened up that double leg attempt here for Kate. But there, look at the hips of De Silva. She's definitely been working the wrestling.
I'm happy to fight anyone, really, under 75, under 70 in the UK. I believe I'm one of the best fighters and soon will be the best fighter at under 70 in the UK, and so it's my job to put that on show. What I want is for Alpha to just line them up and I'm knock them down.
Well done from both competitors. Really, really good fight.
Excellent fight.
We'll have to find out, won't we? I mean, we're going to find out soon enough.